What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corie Sylvester Murray. We're talking about generational wealth, finance, business, and of course, mental health.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
Today, we have a special guest. This brother's a 21-year Navy veteran. This brother is the CEO of Sports First Media and the Terry Spain Consulting. We're going to find out how he went from the military to owning his own business. This brother's also a sports commentator of the NBA, NFL, UFL, NCAA. And check this out. This brother was trained at the White House. He's the author of 2 books. And this brother was honored with the 2023 Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And he has a whole lot of other accolades that we're going to save. So without further ado, Terry Spain, my brother, welcome to Black Men Sundays. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Corie, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited, man. I've been following this podcast for quite some time. So, man, this is a treat. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's good to see you on here. I see, you down in Brevard County. You from South Carolina. You one of those Patriot guys. We've had a lot of those brothers that's come on this show, man. So I just want to jump right in with my first question. For the brothers that are just retiring from the military that are kind of like, okay, I've been doing this. I'm kind of stuck now. What advice would you have for them, for the brothers that are trying to establish themselves, as civilians now?
Yeah, before they get out, one of the things that I like to do, man, that's a great question because I get asked this question all the time because people see that I do a lot of different things. But I tell people that I prepared for this 10 years before I got out the military. And it all consisted of, me investing, consisted of me taking care of my health, my body, but also getting things documented if anything was ailing me while I was in the military. And that's one of the most important things that I tell folks because, it used to be the old addict that we didn't want to go to medical to be seen if we were had any issues or anything. And it's already tough for men to want to go into the hospital and get seen. But I tell folks, if you have any issues while you're in the military, it's very important for you to go ahead and get that documented. But when folks ask me, they say, "Hey, man, I seen you get out the military. How were you able to be successful?" I like to do one-on-ones with people because I like to get to see where they're from, what their goals at, and what they're trying to do, and then from there I'll be able to gauge and help these brothers and sisters out.
Great information. And give me a tip for those brothers and sisters up. You mentioned investing,
Mhm.
stocks, bonds, what type of investments, and would you recommend because you said you did it 10 years before you got out.
Right.
So what advice would you give for the brothers that just got in the military? Should they start investing? And if so, what areas of investing would you say worked for you the best?
Yeah, so for me, then that's a great question. For me, I get asked this question a lot. They was like, "Hey, especially some of the younger guys that are just getting in the military, they said, what is one thing you would change when you joined the military?" And I said, "I wish I would have bought a house sooner." Being in the military, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to own a few homes. I wish I would have bought when I first joined because 20 plus years later, that's definitely that's generational wealth. You don't have to sell the house, but that house can be passed down to your kids or your family or whoever you choose. So one of the biggest advice that I would tell these young brothers and sisters that are coming in, and I know it's scary for a lot of folks, and because buying a house will scare a lot of people off, right? But you don't have to start off with a big, huge house. Get you a townhome or something that is suitable for you that was in your budget because you're going to pay for rent. Why not pay for your mortgage? And so that's one advice, and that's one nugget I would give to a brother or sister who's just joining the military and want to be successful.
Gotcha. And what about you do any stocks? You do any day trading? You in that arena or?
Yeah, so I do some stocks. Actually, Ray and I have talked a few times, and he's got me more into stocks. So I do some stocks and things of that nature as well, and some cryptocurrency, but not to the level as Ray is doing it. But I am doing some investment, and I think honestly for me, it gets me excited to learn more about just the stock market and the major players in the game. I like to watch the news. And folks would always ask me, "Why do you watch the news all the time?" And I said, "Well, because that's where the money is. The news will tell you everything, any stock that you might want to invest in." So, but yeah, so that's just another little tip that I give folks about invest in. Just watch the news.
Oh, that's great information, man. So now let's rewind because I'm looking at your resume. I'm like, how did this brother go from 21 years, U.S. Navy vet, sports commentator, CEO of two businesses, brother? Let's have that conversation right now. This Black Men Sundays. Let's go.
Yeah, man. I'll start with the first company, Terry Spain Consulting, and mainly with that company, that was my first company that I started when I got out of the military, and that company does a lot of consulting, leadership training, anything human relations. So I've been working with other companies to try to help their leadership and help their situations if they have any issues, any unit cohesiveness, any leadership training. So I go in there and I do a lot of that, and that's been successful. I've been hitting and working with a lot of fascinating companies with Terry Spain Consulting, and I do still do diversity and inclusion work because that's still needed for me. I think that's still needed, and so I'm still able to do that. But I also take the time to mentor young men in that Terry Spain Consulting. And then with Sports First Media, that's been my first love. I've been playing basketball pretty much all my life. And but in the Navy, I was a mass communications chief. And with that, we had to obviously, with mass comm, you do everything. And so I got my first break in sports media 25 years ago, when I was covering the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. And so for me, I had an opportunity to cover that, and I've gotten, I never let it go after that. And so I've been broadcasting, I've been doing media coverage, whether it's with broadcasting, whether it was photography at that time. I was getting my hands into a whole mirror of everything as it relates to sports media, and I'm excited about it. This company that I have now, Sports First Media, I recently just started this company about a year and a half ago. And one of the main reasons why I started this company is because I want to give young folks an opportunity who can't get their break in the sports media, because it's real tough. If you don't know the right people in sports media, you can always get shut out. And so for me, I've been fortunate enough to know the right people and meet the right people, and been on several different platforms that I'm able to now bring some of these young folks up who are coming out of college or coming out of high school or just coming out of a job and they want to do something different. And I'm able to kind of help some of them out. And you could kind of, for me, I could kind of tell who wants and who doesn't.
Oh, that's great information, man. And you said Sports First Media. That was going to be my next question. You're the CEO of Sports First Media. Let's talk about
Yeah.
how that company was established. How were you able to finance it? And then let's go into some more detail about it.
Yeah. With Sports First Media, this company is a company that when you're betting on yourself, and that's pretty much what I did. I bet on myself. I've been covering so many sports outings. And I said, well, how powerful would it be if I'm able to start my own company and I'm able to get credentialed through all these other different platforms? Because that's one of the biggest things. You have to get credentials. And lucky for me, or fortunately for me, I've created a name for myself for the last 20 plus years. So when folks see my name on the credential list, they already know who I am. And so I just said, hey, I want to start my own company. And it was a little nerve wracking at first. It was, but you're taking that initial step, and that, you're taking that bet and that gamble on yourself. And I tell people, you always have to bet on yourself. I mean, you got to bet on you first. And for me, that's what I did. And it's been very successful. I'm with Sports First Media. I was able to cover the UFL championship in St. Louis, Missouri. That was one of the things that I was able to cover. And I just recently came back from ACC Media Day kickoff in Charlotte, North Carolina, and that was under Sports First Media as well. So I'm creating that buzz and creating that name for me, and also assisting and meeting other folks while I'm going along the way.
Oh, that's great information, man. And when you were establishing Sports First Media, did you have a business plan in place? And if you did, let's talk about how you established that. And also let's talk about just, how you were able to finance Sports First Media. Because a lot of people, when they start their own businesses, I hear a lot on this show where it's, the first couple of years it's not sweet.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your experience. when you first started this company?
Yeah, so fortunately for me, the overhead for starting my sports media company is not wasn't too much. You know, a lot of times when folks start a business, the overhead is astronomical. You know, it's real high. And for me, it wasn't that because I've already created a name for myself, so that I was able to kick down those doors. As far as equipment and things that nature that I may needed, I was already able to receive those. I had those before the company started, so it kind of helped out. So in that aspect, the overhead and starting that company, you know, your typical financing that you need to start an LLC and things of those natures. That was, you know, that was all I had to pay for that. But yeah, like I said, I'm definitely excited about the whole process, and I paid for, you know, logos, so I had to get my own logo design. I did a few little things that cost me roughly a few $100, be honest with you. But because I was able to be so successful in my Terry Spain consulting, I was able to, you know, be able to take some of that money from that company to go to this company too, you know. So it kind of helped out.
Oh, that's great information. Great information, man. And you know, one thing about Black Men Sundays, when I meet brothers, I enjoy doing the show because I get to talk to people from all over the world, different backgrounds, different education. But one thing about you I noticed is that because on our show we're heavy on, you know, not just business but mentoring because
Right,
I mentor in the community at and the problem that I see is when I'm mentoring outside of the people that may be the owners of the community center or you know the co-workers, I'm not seeing a lot of brothers doing mentoring. You know, you
right.
see a lot of sisters, you see a lot of people, but I don't see people that look like me mentoring consistently. I would say that they may show up like one meeting, but they're not consistent. So, you know, when I'm looking at your resume, you founded the Kenyan Young Men Mentorship Summit. So let's talk about how you established that, the impetus behind all of that.
Yeah, so it's actually it's the King Young Men Empowerment Summit, and that actually fed off of my book that I wrote, Hey Young Man. And so one of the young ladies that live in Kenya, she read my book, and we decided. She said this will be a great opportunity for you to come over and kind of empower some of the young men here in Kenya because they need this type of empowerment. And so, you know, I prayed on it, man. Quite honestly, thank God for giving me this opportunity and this foresight to even write the book. And so what I did is I compiled five other brothers to come with me over to Nairobi, Kenya, and Eldoret, Kenya, and we went over there to do the first ever Kenyan Young Men Empowerment Summit, and we had roughly about 300 young men and some women that were there. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Corie, man, this was absolutely powerful to see these young men and women. They're so hungry. They're thirsting for more. But they learned. We showed them different things. We showed them how to tie ties. We showed them about AI because some of them never heard of Chat GPT or any of these things. So we kind of put them ahead of the game as it relates to that. We showed them, gave them life skills courses. We showed them how to shake a hand properly. All the different tools that are sometimes and often lost. We were just giving them those tools so they could put in their toolbox. And when they were able to after the summit was over, they was able to receive those ties that they tied that we showed them, and that was a gift from us to them. We had a few schools. Fayetteville State University was one of the schools that gave some paraphernalia for them, and then also we just had other companies that you know wanted. They saw what we were doing, or they found out what we were going to be doing, and they invested and helped us out as well. So that was a powerful moment, man. And the goal is to go back next year. I was able to meet with some of their dignitaries, their area prime minister, their senator, and all because they was excited about having us there. And you know, this was like the first of this kind doing that. And we actually created a documentary too. I hired a videographer over in Nairobi, Kenya, and he did a tremendous job, which actually won a few film festivals as well that we were able to win.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Okay, great information, man. Now let's run down some more accolades because on this show we've had brothers that, you know, express the importance of being board members. And I see you're a board member on the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation, and you're a life member of the National Sports Media Association. So let's just talk about that, why you're involved with that, and the importance of being on a board.
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I know about 20 years ago, I never thought I would be on boards, right? But as you get older, you become more wiser. And for me, the Bob Feller Active Valor Foundation board was a no-brainer. For those that don't know who Bob Feller is the only Navy Chief Petty Officer, and I'm a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, but he's the only Navy Chief Petty Officer to be inducted to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. So our president, Peter, decided to start a foundation in his honor. So with that, we actually give out scholarships to service members' families, and to service members as they go back to school. And what we also do is we collaborate with Major League Baseball. And recently, I just came back from Cleveland, Ohio. We have this program called the Champion of Valor, where we teach these young men and women the four pillars of the foundation. But the great thing about that is we partner with the Boys and Girls Club, and some of these young men and women have never been to a baseball stadium before. So Progressive Field in Cleveland, where the Cleveland Guardians play, they collaborate with us because of Major League Baseball, right? And we give these opportunities to these kids to run the bases and give a couple swag bags and things of that nature, so that they can get an opportunity to come to a baseball stadium and enjoy that. So I was excited about that. And then for the National Media Association, that's brought on by Dave Gorin. One of the reasons why I joined that organization because I like what they stand for, and also I'm able to the young men and women that I mentor in media, I'm actually able to get more connections for them through being a part of that board. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm on that board, along with them being a great organization.
Got you. And also tell us the importance of being on those boards and, you know, like how are you enhancing it or like what's the significance of being on a board?
Yeah, and that's a great question because I get asked that. Well, why are you on these boards? But it's good because if you want to make a difference, then you have to be present. And for me, being on the board, I just don't join a board just to say I'm on a board. I want my voice to be heard. I want to be able to make a difference, and I want to be able to make an impact wherever I go. So for me, joining the board, like yesterday, I was able to hand out a service member at the Daytona Tortugas baseball game yesterday where Vince Carter was there, and I was able to connect with Vince Carter because they were honoring him. I was able to hand out a coin from the Bob Feller Foundation on behalf of the Bob Feller Foundation to a veteran who's doing tremendous things in their community. And so these are some of the things that we do as far as the Bob Feller Foundation. And I just did that yesterday. And so we also go to several Major League Baseball stadiums and we hand out awards to a Major League Baseball player who are doing things for veterans and helping veterans and giving back. So if you're not there, if you're not on the board or you're not an advisor, then oftentimes you don't get your voice heard. You don't get to make any impact. And so for me, I'm making impact on both boards, and that's the main reason why I'm on these boards because I want to make a big impact and make a difference.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna ask you one more question. I'm gonna let my brother chat with you for a little bit. I saw you trained at the White House. Let's talk about that experience and what you got from that. And let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I was stationed in Washington D.C. Before I moved here. I was at the in the National Capital Region when I was in the Navy, and one of the commands that I was in charge of was inside of the White House, and so I used to train that staff on leadership, diversity and inclusion, equal opportunity, all things human relations. I was able to train from there. Camp David, um, which a lot of people don't know about Camp David, and the Naval Academy. I was able to train in all three of those entities because I was in charge of that National Capital Region.
This is Kalali Dope out of Calvert County, Prince Frederick, Maryland. I actually wanted to go back because you're doing a lot of consulting. I actually wanted to go back and talk about that. Like, what actually allowed you to get into consulting, and what gave you, I guess, the confidence to say, "Hey, I can go ahead and build this consulting business and really step my foot in that door as a consultant."
And thank Clay. That's actually a good question, man. And you said Calvert County. I'm very familiar with Calvert County. I've driven through there a couple times here or there.
Oh, all right, all right. If you come through one of these days, you stop
Oh,
through out
oh,
here.
oh yeah, I'll definitely stop through. But
Yeah.
I think my time being my last command that I was at when I was in the Navy was at the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute, which is at Patrick Space Air Force Base. It
Okay.
was the Air Force Base at the time. And so from there, I was able to obtain a lot of credentials. I was a certified mediator, a DoD certified mediator. I was a master training specialist, all these different things that you would need on the civilian sector in order to do things like this. So for me, I said, you know what, man, when I retire, I want to start this business, and I already have the credentials. I already made some of the network. And so getting back to what Corie mentioned before about giving advice, when I was in the military, I was going to different conferences and I was doing these different events that there wasn't a lot of people that were in the military that was going to, but they were all civilians that were going there. And for me, I made those connections, those networks. Those are big for me. I'm a huge networker. And so for me, I said, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to need to know the right people. And that's what I did. I started getting in these rooms of knowing the right people, and I bet on myself. And I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and just do this consulting. And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, keep going. And for me, fortunately, it's been going, man. And I'm excited about everything that's been happening.
And that's awesome. Because I know a lot of people have skill sets that businesses and other people could use, but they don't all oftentimes know like that they could go that route of consulting, and kind of move forward in that. So I guess talk to me a little bit about like networking. Like how important is networking in just building a business?
Oh, it's huge. I tell people don't stick to just one demographic. You feel comfortable with the person that looks like you. But what about the person that doesn't look for you? You'll be able to find those commonalities in people. I tell I mention a lot that sports is a commonality that a lot of people have in common. Military is another thing that people have in common because they either have a family member that they've served, or they have a friend who served, So you always have to find those commonalities with people to start those to be a great networker. I can go into any store, and even if it's the person that's mopping the floor or the person that's ringing you up at the cashier, I can find a commonality with that person instantly.
Mm.
And so you have to be able to do that in order to be a great networker, because people need to see that you can meet them where they're at. At that moment where you're talking to them, it feels like you've been knowing each other for years. I can go from the CEO of a company to the person that's mopping the floor, and I can find a commonality with both of them. So that's one of the tricks and trades that I use in order to become a great networker. And I watched my dad. My dad did 30 years in the Marine Corps, but he's a pastor, right? So, obviously he has to be of assistance to a lot of people. But I was able to watch him and how he was able to maneuver. I really didn't tell him this as much. I just sit back and watch him sometimes, and how people really open up to him that don't even know him at all.
Mm.
And so for me, I'm able to look at that, see how he's able to work a room, and I just kind of polished that and made my own, version of that, and it's been working ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So how did you like, I guess, identify ways to spin off that? Because it seemed like once you got into consulting and you started spinning it off into other areas of interest or other businesses that you were doing as well. So what was your thinking process behind that?
Well, I found out that it was a need for it all.
Okay.
There were a lot of companies that needed a lot of things, and for me, I was able to see that and recognize that if I went to a company to help them out, not only did they need A, they need B, C, and D as well. So I say, well, I do offer B, C, and D as well. But let me tell you one of the things that I do when I do that. If I have friends or family or colleagues who I know that can come in and be of assistance to that organization, then I just don't keep it all to myself. If I know I have somebody that is capable of doing the job, I'll recommend them as well. Oftentimes we get people that hold on to stuff and they say, well, I want to do it all, right? I don't want nobody else to jump on this gravy train that I have. But for me, I think that's the wrong way to go. And I think for me, that's how I was able to be successful. It's because I'm willing to spread the wealth.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's a good gem, actually. I appreciate that because, we talk about networking a lot on this show in terms of what you get from your network, but you just put a spotlight on what you can give back to your network when you
Of
take
course.
it. So, yeah, man, definitely appreciate you, man. Hey, appreciate your time, man. Appreciate you answering my questions, man. Once again, just congratulations on everything you've been able to do. I hope you continue to accomplish great things.
Most definitely. I appreciate you, man. And I tell you, when I'm coming through Calvert County, man, I might need you.
Hey man, hey look, we can get together on some stuff. I've already looked you up on LinkedIn. I sent you a connect. So
Okay.
so we could my name's Kalali Dogbe. I don't know if you can see it up there, but my name's Kalali Dogbe.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
man, you coming through Calvert County? Holla at me. I'm out here.
All right. Most definitely.
Great information. Wow, I'm loving this conversation, man. So, Terry Spain, my brother, are you enjoying yourself on Black Men Sundays?
Man, I'm having a blast, man. I'm really glad I'm on here. And I'm not just saying that because y'all gentlemen are here, man, but this is needed. This is powerful right here. And I enjoy every minute of it.
Great, great information, man. So I have like a couple more, then I'm gonna let you ride. Earlier I said you were honored with the 2023 Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. I was I was definitely honored with that. I was really out. I was surprised, quite honestly, but the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award stemmed from me going to Kenya and that impact that I made that was over there. But not only just with Kenya, but I do a lot of stuff here, not in just this community, but everywhere I go, I always try to make an impact. So I want to shout out. I got very strong ties with Baltimore. Baltimore is like my second home, right? And they have this organization in Baltimore called the Baltimore Brothers, and we talk about giving back. And these brothers are doing a tremendous job in the city of Baltimore, so much that the crime rate has dropped in Baltimore as a part of these brothers that's there that's making a difference. And so for me, I was able to just continue making an impact wherever I go. And it went noticed. I mean, someone noticed that all the stuff that I was doing, and they said we want to put you in for the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Medal. And I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, and I was able to get it, and I was extremely honored with that because I know I won't take that lightly, and it's not something that's taken in vain, and it's a true testament of the hard work, man. And I don't go and do get awards just to say, look at me, here I go, I won all the awards. I don't do things for the awards. I do things for the impact.
I like that. You said you don't do things for the awards, you do it for the impact. That's a gem right there.
Yes, sir.
Don't let that go over your head, fellas. Y'all sleeping that behind the wheel. So, and before I let you go, man, for the brothers that are retired military, because
Hmm.
earlier my question for the brothers were, you know, getting into the military versus now these brothers are about to come out,
Hmm.
and I see a lot of brothers. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I see a lot of brothers doing well coming out. They making 5, 6 G's a month. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, are you living? Y'all living good. So, so for the brothers that are making that money, but at the same time, when I have a real deep conversation with them, sometimes they have ailments. Like I have a
Hmm.
friend of mine that's coming on the show in a couple of weeks, hope, and I might invite you back if you want to just hang out, be in the crew. But like
Okay.
he can't hear out of his left ear.
Hmm.
So if me and him are at a bar and I'm talking, I'm like, oh, I got to go around. But I'm just saying, but he lives comfortably. So for the brothers that are, living good, but that have ailments, what advice would you give for them that, because a lot of those brothers I see aren't really doing, they just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
They say, listen, man, I'm 6 G's a month.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
So are they good or should they do some investing? Because a lot of brothers, when I speak to, I mean, you know Ray, a lot of brothers like Ray, he's different because he's investing. But a lot of brothers I'm seeing are like, no, I don't want to invest. I don't have money to lose in the crypto space. I don't have money
Yeah.
to lose in the stock market. I'd rather just, get me a couple gold bars, get me some properties, and I'm chilling.
Right.
You agree with that or no?
Well, I think it depends on the person, man. Some people are not going to change it. Some people are just not risk takers because if you invest in stocks, obviously you're taking a risk. And you're right. There are brothers who are out there who are that are veterans and they have some serious ailments, and oftentimes they're afraid to take that risk because they didn't have to take that 5, 10 years ago as far as because they had this safety net of knowing that they're going to get a check twice a month. A lot of people don't know this is when you retire from the military, if you have the ability to retire from the military, you don't get paid twice a month anymore. You only get paid once a month, and that's at the end of the month. So people are counting their coins more so than ever, and then if you are able to get a disability rating that will allow you to get additional income, a lot of folks usually take that and it's kind of like we talked about some of the brothers on the show. they take that and invest a little bit of it. And I tell folks, you don't have to invest everything, all of your money. But if you're able to afford and invest a small percentage, 10% at the most, I mean, and if you're able to do that, then you're playing the long game. A lot of people like the get rich scheme. Like I want to get paid now. I put $100 in here. I want to get $300 tomorrow. It's a long game, and I think people are a little afraid of waiting for the long game. They want their money now. But I tell a lot of the veterans, hey, just try it. But you'll be surprised how many veterans don't know about the stock market, but they want to learn. So this is one of the reasons why I kept pushing Ray as to leading the charge on things like that, because of the impacts that he can make by helping some of the other veterans. We already speak the same language because we're all veterans, right? So oftentimes veterans feel more comfortable when they're able to learn from another veteran. And so teaching veterans how to invest properly, teaching veterans what decisions to make, I think that's something that's needed.
So you were saying earlier that you were connected to the Boys and Girls Club.
Hmm.
Are you connected to any of those clubs down in Brevard County? And the only reason why I'm asking is because we do a turkey drive every year,
Hmm.
and I always speak to I'm cool with the CEOs of Central Florida
Okay.
Boys and Girls Club. So I'm pretty much connected. I mean, I'm pretty much got Orlando, the whole surrounding areas in the metro area on lock. But
Right.
I'm trying to expand to get at least one or two in Brevard. So if you have connections there, link me up. But here's the catch though. I'm gonna need some help with that. Cause see, I do a lot of the footwork where okay, the money comes in, I'm at the grocery stores buying the turkeys,
Okay.
dropping them
Okay.
off, storing them at the clubs. Like I'm connected in locally, but you know, my brother Lou Moyer, he came on the show and he was like, "Man, you need to do something here." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't get 300 turkeys and drive an hour and a half to Brevard, man."
Right.
But he
Right.
said, "Well, you know what? You need some help. Let us help you." So I'm thinking, okay, I done met you. I got Ray. I got Lou. I got other brothers down there. And I'm like, maybe I need to set that up. So let me know if you can hook me up with that.
Yeah, I think I may have a few folks that you can connect with, in particular with the Boys and Girls Club too, that can definitely help you out. But that's actually a great thing. I think that would be a good thing to have, especially not just with the Boys and Girls Club, but with just helping people who need help in general. So if you're definitely we'll definitely talk about that, and we'll get that set up, because I know I got a few people, few folks, and I may be able to get my Sigma chapter to participate. I'm part of the Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, so Blue Phi, and I can be able to get my Sigma chapter to properly, because I'm the social action director for our chair already. So it will come hand in hand already with that. So
When you were saying Sigma, there's a brother we had on the show. Lou connected me with. I can't think of his name. He's from New York, and he's a Sigma. He does the ties with the kid. I can't think of his brothers. He's from New York too. He gonna kill me from Brooklyn. But you know
Conrado
him.
Mart who?
Yeah, say that, Conrado.
Conrado Martinez.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that brother came on the show like twice too. So we got the pipeline is
Yeah, he's
working.
actually my line brother.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah,
know that
yeah,
because when you said Sigma, I was like, oh, he's connected to that same group. You know what I mean? So okay,
yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah.
cause like the way I'm looking at it, I could have all y'all down there just representing. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
raising the money, buy the turkeys, and get it done like that. So
yeah.
okay.
I think that'd be a good initiative, and you got the right person to talk to, because I'm the director of our social action, so I run things like that. So, and I'm actually meeting with Corrado tomorrow. We're gonna do lunch tomorrow. So kind of look at the intervention right there. Look at the divine intervention.
Hey man, tell him I said what's up. Even though the last time I was in Brevard, he pulled up and pulled out real quick, but we ain't going there. I'm gonna let him live on that because you know what I'm saying. Now, he's a good brother, man. We had him on the show, man. Terry Spain, thanks for coming on Black Men Sundays, brother. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. We definitely gonna have to have you come back on Black Men Sundays, man. I think you gave us a lot of gems today, and I'm very happy, man, my brother.
Thank you for having me, both of you gentlemen, man. It's been a pleasure. I was excited the whole entire week by doing this podcast, man. So it's definitely a great podcast, and you guys are very professional. And keep it going, man. Any way that we can collaborate, like we talked about before, I love that, man. I love the collaboration going, because that's what's needed, and that's how we're going to become even better brothers, especially on Black Men Sunday podcast.
It's a black man Sunday. Time to put on childish things.